Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and I have with us today Brian Mcclafferty, and he is the co-founder at Evident Proof. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, thanks a lot, Juliette. How are you?
Excellent. So why don't you go ahead and start us off with what is Evident Proof and what do you do there? What is your role?
Yeah, sure. So my role is part of the marketing strategy and getting the message out there really about what the Evident Proof solution delivers and how it helps on many levels. Where Evident Proof started from was Microsoft came to us back in 2016 and they wanted us to build a private Ethereum consortium on Azure for them. And what we did was we actually moved on from there and we wanted to make using the blockchain, we wanted to make the database that we were building for them immutable and 100% provenant. So what that meant was all of the data that gets stored on their database can't be changed, can't be hacked, and you can then actually use that data in future for like in a court case and things like that. So that's where it started from. We've now got it to the point where it's a live product. So 2 years on, it's a live product, and we've actually got corporate global companies using the system.
So this is something you can store basically any sensitive or very important data to make sure it's never lost and it's always accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, some examples of how some clients are using it currently. You've got there's a taxi firm, for example. Well, we've got a local government, and what they do is they store all of their taxi firms' licenses and certificates and everything on Evident Proof. So then when it comes to the annual checkups and making sure that all of their taxi drivers are licensed and things like that, then all of their data is 100% guaranteed and stored on Evident Proof. The reason that one, for example, is a problem is, I don't know if you know, but if you get in an unlicensed taxi, then you're not then insured. And there has been a lot of problems, especially in London, in the UK. I know other big cities where you'll get anybody that will just pretend they're a taxi firm, and then next thing you know, it can get you into all sorts of trouble and bother. So what one local government has gone and done is actually put everything stored onto Evident Proof to make sure that they can guarantee unequivocally that all of their taxi drivers are licensed and they are who they say they are. So yeah, that's going really well. Other solutions are you have an art gallery, for example. So you have an artist, they record when they've completed their piece of art and who it's first been sold on to. And what you have is when an artist sells on a piece of work, then they obviously get commission for that. Then if somebody sells that on to somebody else, the artist should still get commission for that. So with the use of Evident Proof, every time that piece of art gets sold on, not only is it registered on a safe, unhackable database, but the artist can get his commission. And then if it pops up, say in a gallery somewhere and the person isn't recorded on the database, then you know that it's either been stolen or somebody has sold it without the rights of the artist in the first place. A couple of other examples are it works with the Internet of Things. So you can store, if you've got an oil pipeline, for example, and you need your data stored as the oil travels through or as even through the manufacture and creation of the oil process in the first place, all of that data can be stored on there. So if anybody ever comes back and says there's a fault or there's something wrong with it, you can guarantee where the fault may have come from, and it's all completely unhackable and safe where it is.
That's fantastic. And that kind of goes back to why you started using blockchain, I'm sure. So how did you decide to use blockchain for this, and how does it kind of work into it?
Yeah, sure. So the immutability that the blockchain allows you to have, by the simple fact that the data is stored across several ledgers, means that it can't be hacked and it can't be changed. So with that in mind, that then means that the data is safe and secure. And another reason that the blockchain is really helpful is the way you use the system is you go storing your data via the Evident Proof platform. And then what happens is you receive a receipt back for storing that bit of data, and you receive a token. So then what you can do, then when you need to recall your proof certificate to say that this data is what you've said it is, and take it to court if you need to, you then use your original receipt that you received, and you then use a token, which then allows you to claim back your proof certificate. And you can use this as well with other people. So if you needed to send it to a solicitor, a lawyer, for example, or somebody else needed to get a copy of it, then rather than you having to exchange any money or funds or anything like that, what you can do is you can exchange an Evident Proof token, which is only available courtesy of the blockchain. You can then claim your information back. So if you've got to share that data with somebody in the UK, in USA, in Japan, China, anywhere, rather than having to worry with exchange rates, all you have to do is use your Evident Proof token to then take your information out of the platform.
Wonderful. And the time saving that this provides simply for looking up records and how much time that will save an individual is staggering, I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. You have what our system also does is it can do reports. So you can generate a report on multiple data blocks that you've stored, and also if you even step a little bit further and you think about if you need to take some information to a court and you're going to need your solicitors to prove everything that's been said. Well, if that data was stored within Evident Proof in the first place, then because it's machine safe, as it were, you can't. You can't deny that data is what it is. So not only does it save time in transferring the data and sharing the proof of evidence with other people, but it saves you lots of time and money when you think about how long it takes to prove otherwise where this data may have come from.
And yeah, it's very trustworthy, and like you said, it's secure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've the data that we store on there is because what we've done is we've actually got our white paper authenticated to an IPO level, which we didn't need to. But what that includes is they've agreed that our database is unhackable, and that the certificate will stand up in a court. So yeah.
Fantastic. And you're building it on Ethereum, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's on Ethereum, and we're using the ERC-223, which means that it's secure. We haven't gone any further yet because other variables aren't as widely used or anything else yet. So we've stuck with something that's proven and tested. So
absolutely. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Evident Proof and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So my previous company was a cloud solution for the construction industry in the UK. We basically replaced their paperwork with mobile devices, so they no longer had to take out big job packs and carry out massive drawings and everything, and they weren't losing paperwork. Instead, all they had to do was take out a mobile phone, and they would have all that they needed stored on there. From this, Adrian, our CEO, recognized the experience that I had from then with the marketing and launching that, and he came and approached me and said he had this solution with Evident Proof, and would I help them work and launch it. So yeah, that's where that stemmed from.
Fantastic. And there's a couple other these data verification or data keeping services available. What do you believe really sets Evident Proof apart from these?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things for a start is with our solution, you can actually store the data yourself. If you want to, we don't have to store the data for you. So what we do is you store the data, and then what we store is the proof that data hasn't been edited or played with or anything else. And also with the fact that it's on the blockchain and we're using a token system, makes it much easier to be able to use the system globally, which is good because we do with our enterprise clients. They may be in any country or anywhere, and the speed of the use of the tokens just means that they can get access to their data quicker. And I'm not too sure how many of these other competitors have got all of their information and facts authorized to approved to an IPO level, whereas we've had to go through lots with solicitors and everybody to make sure that we can stand by everything that we state.
Where do you see evident proof going from here? What are some of your long-term goals for this company?
Yeah, sure. So our long-term goals, we're based out of the UK at the moment. We do have partners set up in other countries, but the big goal that we're moving towards is a global rollout by the end of next year. So we intend to have offices across Europe and then across Asia, and over to the Americas as well, and over in Australia with Sydney. So the team that we've got are made up of, you've got an ex-CTO and innovations director from Microsoft. We've got other members of the Microsoft team working with us, and we've got our CTO is experienced in rolling out enterprise global solutions. So with all of the guys that we've got on board, we already know what we need to do and where we need to go to get this global rollout. So yeah, that's our plan. Get it out there and then get as many people using it as possible.
Yeah, fantastic. You've been working in this space for a while now. What really gets you motivated about it and excited and thinking of new creative things?
I tell you what I love is when you get to some of the conferences and things like that, and you see, obviously I love evident proof and everything that we're doing, and every time I see another opportunity for us to help in a different way, from charities to people having to travel around the world. There's one person I spoke to over in Malta at the D10E conference last week. She's looking to set up an orphanage over in Uganda for young girls who haven't had a chance to have an education or anything else, and they don't even have an ID. So what we're looking at with evident proof is giving them the chance to have their ID created and stored online, so that can then travel with them around the world if they want to, and that could help refugees as well. But other things that I love about the space is we have another company that I spoke to. They're looking to use the blockchain to help small and medium-sized companies raise funds for their businesses. So it's just the way that the decentralization means that a lot more can start happening in lots of areas, whereas before it was a bit more controlled. But it's nice the great ideas that people are coming out with now. It's really good fun and exciting.
The possibilities are truly endless. What are some of the biggest things that you've learned by working in this space?
You have to move fast. You certainly have to move fast, and I think it's the security risks and things like that is a big one. When you find out more and more about how people's data is being hacked, and how insecure people are, and how much legislation is coming in constantly, it's just I think it's just probably how vulnerable people have been with data before and things like that, and now how and probably we're all unaware of it. It's people. We've been programmed to just freely give away our information and our data and everything about us, and kind of fine. But I think with things like recently with the Facebook and the release of people having data, I think people are now more aware of what's happening to them and their data, and people are getting a little bit more mindful about it. And I think interesting things, there's some solutions out there now on the blockchain that are looking at, you may have just a basic Facebook solution where you share your information, but with new ideas that are coming out, people can actually earn money for those solutions, so yeah, it's just very interesting space, and you need to be able to keep up with everything that's going on, like new legislation and everything else as well.
It is interesting, the knowledge shift, because I don't think that people truly understood how their data was being used and who had access to it. And now that everyone has that information, they're freaking out. But it's
sure.
kind of interesting to think, why didn't we as a group of people understand that this was potentially possible? Because the internet is infinite, basically, like the universe. How did we not see this coming, I guess? So it's nice that solutions are finally coming to light.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if people want to get set up with Evident Proof and start using it, how does it all work that way?
Yeah, so if people want to start using the system, then the best thing to do is go to our website and drop us an email. The website is evident-proof.com. And then what will happen is our team will then meet with them, have a conversation with them, understand how their current systems are running and how they would like to integrate with the Evident Proof platform, and then we can move on from there, basically.
Fantastic. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us here today. And do you have any last minute thoughts for our listeners?
No, I think hopefully I've answered your questions and given them enough information. And if they want to find out anything more about Evident Proof, then check out the website, evident-proof.com.
Fantastic. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
That was Brian Mcclafferty. He is the co-founder at Evident Proof. You can find them at evident-proof.com. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Juliet Lamar with Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.